Wednesday, April 28th, and my name is Paul, and I'll be your host tonight. And I welcome you all to our midweek oasis here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. We're so glad you're here. So, church family, it is Wednesday night, and it is an oasis. What is it? Well, Reverend Jeff said, it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. And that's indeed what we're going to do tonight. He wanted our Wednesday night services to be informal, intimate, and rich. And we have adopted his satsang style, which is where we ask a speaker to speak on a subject, and then we open it up for that intimate, rich, and informal discussion. Our annual theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And our monthly theme, and this is the last official church service for this theme this month, of Stepping into the Unknown. So if you're here joining us for the first time, we welcome you with our whole heart. And when I do announcements, I'll tell you a way you can stay better connected with us. Please know that during the service, to improve the quality of the transmission, the Zoom team will close your camera and your microphone. That helps us along the way. So welcome, welcome, welcome. To start off, and our speaker tonight is the fabulous practitioner, Susan Urquhart Brown, and she'll be speaking on stretching into presence. But before we go to Susan, we're going to start with her husband, also a practitioner, Christopher Brown. Christopher, can you open us in prayer tonight?
Certainly. Thank you, Paul. Well, welcome everyone. And let's just take a moment to go into the silence, to take that breath, to settle into that which connects us all. Our hearts, through our minds, through our personalities, through all of nature, how connected we are. And in that connection, and knowing that connection, I speak a word for this evening's service. And I start by blessing our entire Zoom team that shows up early and that does such a fabulous job. And I bless Paul, whose heartfulness has kept this Wednesday alive and vibrant for so many years now. And I bless, our exciting and dynamic presenter tonight, Susan Urquhart Brown. And we thank her in advance for her inspirational and uplifting talk. And lastly, I bless everyone on this service who has taken the time to show up and to bring their heartfulness, their devotion, their love, and their wisdom. So with that, we are blessed, so blessed. And we anchor this by saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Christopher. As I said, we have an exciting speaker tonight. She is going to present to us something a little different than what we normally do on Wednesday night, but we'll surprise you as that comes along. Her talk is stretching into the presence, but I want to tell you a little bit of what I know about her, and I'm sure there's much more. Susan is one of our great practitioners here at the Oakland Center. As well, she's the author of her own book, The Accidental Entrepreneur. So check it out, you guys, at your favorite bookstores. As well, she's a dynamic yoga teacher and has her own yoga studio, Anjuri Yoga in Piedmont. She co-facilitates local and international Power Present workshops and retreats with her husband, Christopher Brown. Also with Christopher, she co-facilitates a local Saturday Circle group that has met monthly for over a decade, where she finds the time with 2 grandchildren, 2 sons, two external spouses to come and share time with us. I have no idea. But I'm telling you, I am super excited and grateful for you being here with us tonight, Susan. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to be here. I did give that title, Stretching into Presence, but as I've been going through what I wanted to share with you, this seems to be a really good completion to our stepping into the unknown and learning really how to be present, stretching into it or not. But since I said that, and I'm a yoga teacher, I just invite you to take your hands and put it over your heart and close your eyes for a moment and take that nice breath and just feel the feeling tone within the body. We've had a wonderful meditation and prayer, and we're all prayed up for this. So, what I'd like to invite us to do is to stretch out, bringing that heartfelt, wonderful, yummy feeling out to the whole Zoom community. So, I am so happy that you've joined me tonight. And I'll have to admit, I'm a little nervous. I'll tell you that right up front. So I just keep taking a breath because I know when I come present, I am totally here and I know what I want to share with you. So when I was thinking about this talk a couple weeks ago, I have a favorite iced tea, or it's called Honest Tea. And I opened it up and I didn't know that there's really a saying on the bottle cap when you look at it. So I actually looked at the bottle cap and it was just so perfect. The quote is, "There is nothing either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." And that is a quote from William Shakespeare. So it reminds me of our change your thinking, change your life, or moving more into the heart space and becoming present. So I'd like to tell you a story that illustrates that. Um, uh, as you know, I'm a yoga teacher, and so there's certain poses that I like to practice and perfect as much as I can, but there's one I can't do, and it's really kind of embarrassing. It's a headstand. Maybe it's not so embarrassing for right now, but the whole point I brought that up because I think for some people on this call, you don't normally do a headstand. Well, when I went to my training, I never did a headstand either. And it took me months and months and actually a couple of years to be able to do this. So one day I'm taking yoga and the teacher says, guess what? Let's go to the wall and do a headstand. So what do I say? Oh, no, not this again. I can't do this. I've tried so hard, but my friend Steve was next to me. And I looked over at him and I said, I can't do this. I've been trying for months. And he goes, okay, it's okay. I just want you to say to yourself, I can do it. Well, that seemed simple enough, but so I thought, well, okay, let's try it. So I've really surprised myself because I went right up effortlessly almost into the headstand. Mainly because I wasn't saying, I can't do it, I can't do it, this is embarrassing. I just said, I can do it. And I knew from that moment that I could repeat that again. And that has kind of it's called mental equivalence. So that meant I know, but it isn't in my head. It's more of in the body, in the heart, in the knowingness that you can do it. So what I had been doing is arguing against my limitation. And that's all I saw. So this I can do it leads me into our next, what we're going to do together in a moment. But one other little anecdote about that is my then 6-year-old grandson is a gymnast, and he was doing headstands and stuff. And so I was feeling very proud of myself. And I said, oh, let me see you do a headstand. And so he did. Oh, yeah, that's easy, Grandma. And I said, but you know what? I can do a headstand too. And I did. And he was quite impressed. So what I'm telling us and myself is anything that's difficult for you, and that's what I would like you to think about right now. Was there a time when you were trying to do something? Of course, it doesn't have to be a headstand, something, and you tried and tried, you really wanted to be successful at this, but it just wasn't happening. And so this is the one that I want you to think about, that you were able to do because someone helped you, like my friend Steve, or someone was able to share something with you and might not have even been helping you. It might have been a quote. It might have been something a teacher was talking about, and it just clicked for you that you could do whatever this was. So I'd like you to be thinking about that, and now, and think about what it was, how you made the shift to being able to do it, who helped you, and just be able to share what that feeling was like for you when you actually completed it the first time. So we're going to go in to our first breakout group tonight. And what I'd like you to do is share about this with these questions with your partner, with your wonderful partner. And there are only wonderful partners here. So can we go into the breakout room now? I am sure that I'm actually seeing a big telephone in front of me instead of being spotlighted. So am I spotlighted? Just checking.
Mhm. Yep.
You are.
Okay, great.
Did the
All
telephone go away?
So I know that you had a wonderful talk with your partners and things to share, but Paul has told me to go on with the second part, and then our next breakout, if there's a burning share right now, I'll take one. Does anybody have a burning share before we go on? Is that you? Anybody?
I might have a burning share.
Okay.
I shared who came to mind, and then my partner became inspirational to me and encouraging to me. So that was really awesome.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I wasn't quite sure who said that, but thank you for saying that.
Sage.
Sage. Okay, thank you, Sage. Okay, so I wanted to share a story with you that is based on an Oscar-nominated short movie, and it's called Feeling Through, and I think that's in chat if after this you'd like to take a look at it. But 5 minutes in, I was in tears with what was going on. This is a story of a young man who's homeless, and I'm guessing he's recently homeless, and how he met a deaf-blind man who literally changed his life. So it is a transformative story. So, and it is based on the director's experience himself meeting a deaf and blind man and becoming fast friends and really stepping into what his life is like. So the movie starts with the young man, the person we're talking about, the young homeless man, really busy on his phone. And this guy comes up with a cop who is also homeless and says, can you spare something for me? And he goes, I've got nothing, and just brushed the guy off. And then he looked at his watch and he got up and he started running because he realized he was going to meet with his friends. So he runs up to his friends, but you can see in his face that he's changing his face so that he is looking like more happy-go-lucky instead of being depressed and worried, which is probably what he is feeling. And so he hangs out with his friends, and in the time that they're hanging out, he goes, oh, hey, can I roll in and stay at your house tonight? And just then it so happens that that friend has a phone call from his mom. And so the friend asked the mom, and she said, no, that's just not going to work tonight. And so here he is, he knows that he doesn't have any place to stay that night. And so they, you know, finish up what they're doing, give each other hugs, see you next time, off they go. And then he pulls up his collar and it's cold and he walks off. And as he's walking down the sidewalk, he notices this man just standing there quietly. He can tell he's blind because he has a cane, but he's just standing there and he's so quiet, like he's waiting, but it makes him very curious. So he goes up to the man and he stands in front of him and he sees he has a sign, and the sign says, I am deaf and blind. Tap me if you can help me cross the street. So of course, the guy starts talking to him, and then he gets all embarrassed because he realizes, oh, he's deaf and he's blind, so he can't hear me. So, but the guy, at that moment, the guy reaches over, gets this notepad out of his backpack, and he writes something on it. And he turns it, and it says, how far is bus number 51? And so then the guy, our young man, starts saying, oh, it's not far. And then he goes, oh, well, how do I do this? So again, the man helps him by raising his arm up so the young man can take his arm and turn him in the right direction to cross the street. But then the deaf blind man starts going out and a car is coming up, so he has to grab him back. And this is a trend, so I want you to notice when there's a little shift in this young man, because he was planning on pointing him in the right direction and leaving. He didn't say that, but you could feel that that's what he was doing. But now he said, okay, to himself, I'm going to take him to the bus stop. So on the way to the bus stop, he stops and sends a text to another friend saying, can I stay tonight? And then they get to the bus stop. He sits them down and they just sit silently. The young man didn't know what to do. So again, the notepad, the deaf blind guy, and I'll tell you, his name is Artie. Artie writes, how long until the next bus? And then the young man, whose name is Tariq, is going like, how do I tell him this? So, but again, the man, Artie helped, he put his palm up and then tapped 10 times. So he knew it was 10 minutes. Again, they sat back quiet. And then the notebook comes up again and he says, store nearby, question mark, I'm thirsty. Or he didn't even do that. He says, thirsty. So, oh, the guy rolls his eyes going, and you can tell he's thinking, how did I get messed up in this and taking care of this guy? Why me? So he agrees to take him. They go to the store, they pick out the water and a candy bar. The man holds him, already gives him his wallet, pays the clerk. Clerk gives him the change, and he keeps $1 of the change and puts it in his pocket, puts the rest in Artie's wallet and gives it to Artie. They walk back, and as soon as they get out the door, the bus is going by. They missed the bus. So they have to go back. And he goes, now what am I going to do? And then he gets a text back from his friend who says, sorry, it's too late now for you to come and stay. And so goes, well, where am I going to go anyway? So I'm going to sit here with Artie. So they end up having a conversation. And so he now has learned, the young man whose name is Tariq writes on Artie's hand, why out late? Question mark. Artie actually doesn't write on his pad. He put it on Tariq's hand, and it says date. You should see the look on the face of Tariq going. And then he goes, what am I? And then he says, you, just the letter U. And so Tariq writes, same. He didn't want to tell him why he was out this late. So they talk more, they exchange their names. And again, they're waiting for the bus. And it doesn't come and it doesn't come. And pretty soon they're like this with their head together. And then some noise comes up and they wake up and they have yet another discussion back and forth with the pad. And so you see this man and you see Artie, who is very steady, very calm, very sweet. He has a sweet smile on his face. And he can wait, seems like forever. Tariq doesn't have that same feeling. However, he really doesn't have anywhere to go. And you can tell he's kind of very intrigued with Artie. And so at this point, he puts his hands over his ears and he closes his eyes, imagining what it would be like to be deaf and blind. And then he takes them off and Artie's looking at him, and Artie holds up a bottle that he had just pulled out of his backpack. It was a water bottle that he had all along. And he started laughing, and Tariq laughed. And then he realized, wow, he has a voice. He can laugh, so learning what it's like to be deaf and blind and becoming friends. Now, there's no discussion here about how Tariq is taking this in. It is all in the filming of it, in the expressions. And so you can see how Tariq is really learning and appreciating the Artie. He puts his hands up here like this again, closes his eyes, and then the bus goes by, but he hears it just in time, grabs the bus, runs on. He goes to the driver and says, I tell Artie when we get to 192nd Street. And the bus driver says, yeah, okay. And Tariq said, now, I want to know that you are taking Artie, his name is Artie, and telling him when his stop is. And the man goes, yes, I will take care of Artie. So they come together. And Tariq writes, "You okay?" And then Artie nods, and then he holds up his notepad again, and it says, "You'll be okay." And at that point, they both hug each other, really genuine, heartfelt hug. And he turns, the young man, as Artie is getting up to get off the bus, he looks at the back of the bus, and there's a woman in the back of the bus who's looking directly at him and just does a little nod, showing how much she appreciated how he was being with Artie and helping him. So that is my story to tell you. The film is, I highly recommend it. It's much better than my telling you, but you get the feeling and the feeling tone. So this is the time to go into our second breakout group. And I'd like you to think about, how did Tariq's life change? And how was Artie the catalyst for that? And let's see, what else? Did you see anything of yourself in this story? And how does it relate to perhaps a life experience you yourself had? So those are the questions to get us started. And I know you'll have more to chat with each other. So this is the time to go to our breakout rooms and meet another wonderful partner to talk about the transformation that happened in this story. Oh, are we on? Let's have some sharing. I think we have 5 minutes for that, I think. Yes. So who would like to share? I know everybody had some interesting things to share.
Well, Peter has his hand up right now.
Oh, Peter. Yeah, Peter was really good.
Okay. Susan was my partner, so I had a delightful time sharing with her, and I told her my story of how someone, well, I guess changed my life in some special way. She was a patient of mine that I found out, I had gotten to know her, just her coming in regularly, that she needed a blood for a surgery she was having, and was having trouble giving it herself, donating her own blood. And I asked her what her blood type was. And turns out our blood types were the same, A positive. And I told her, I said, I'll do that for you and give it to you, because I donate blood anyway. And she said, you'll do that for me? And I said, well, absolutely. And so I did that. And I found out she was in the hospital recovering from the surgery. I went into the room and she said, you came at a perfect time, because see that blood up there? That's your blood going back to help me. And we became very good friends after that. And we had a special bond. And so that was a wonderful thing for me, the spirit to have brought her into my life. It's just a really nice thing that happened.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So who else?
I don't see anybody else's hand up so far.
Nobody? No one. Paul said I could call on him.
I have to be honest. What I'm about to say may offend somebody, but I had a three-way, okay?
Oh.
I had Tanya, who has since disappeared in our share, and the fabulous Sherry Kramer. And I shared, Tanya said, based on the questions, because I kind of got them into chat real fast, Susan, as you were saying them.
Yes.
Tanya shared that it's kind of like Peter's story that they bonded is basically what she said, and that Tariq learned some compassion that he didn't have before. And I made the observation that Artie, I think, knew he had someone that was needed to learn something. Because like when he produced the water, you know, but Tariq did, sounds like he didn't take it offensively. But I said, can you imagine writing in someone else's hand? I know I wrote a letter A because I know what I'm going to write, but next time we're together, Susan, I'm going to try this with you and see if you can really feel the letter. I find that fascinating, and I learned something. I think we all learned something. I may need that trick in a pinch if I run across a similar situation. So that was kind of profound to me. And yeah, and Sherry, if you want to talk about your tenant mate there at the place.
Yeah, just quickly, I have a special needs little kid about 9 or 10 in my building, and he kind of rushes in and out with his parents, and I use that as an excuse that they kind of protect him and move him in. I never talk with him, but I do talk with all the other normal kids as they're going in, and I'm looking at that like maybe I really do tend towards communicating with those that are not special need kinds of kids. I'm just going to look at that. I'm going to say hi to him tomorrow when he gets in and out of the car, and see if that's really true, or if his parents really don't want him to talk to anybody. So we'll see.
Yeah, our revelations weren't on point to what you were seeking, but we found other kind of cool revelations.
Right, and about homeless people and what we were doing with them, and not doing.
All three of us had a profound experience from the share. So thank you, Susan.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so I've got Maureen's hand went up next, and then Sage is after Maureen.
Okay.
Hi. So one of the things that was brought up, actually Christopher brought it up, was and it really had me thinking, was the aspect of the touch of oh darn it, I can't remember his name.
Or Artie.
Artie or
Artie or-
Tariq?
Tariq
is a young man.
Yeah, Tariq had to, he had to not only, stop and help this man, but he had to be intimate with this man, right? And especially with COVID, imagine being that close to someone and needing to provide that type of assistance during this time. But I felt like almost, because it was almost to me like Tariq learned so many life lessons all in one, and it would be so great if we could kind of bottle that and sell it to people, right? But I was feeling like the fact that they touched and had that intimate, kind of forced-ish intimate experience, that almost fast-tracked the experience of empathy and compassion and slowing down, and so that is what Christopher's comment about touch came up for me.
Oh, thank you so much, Maureen. That was great. And who's next?
Sage is next,
Go.
Sage.
Hi.
and then Margot after Sage.
Okay.
So I was really reminded of one of my most cherished experiences, which was helping a woman with cerebral palsy write poetry. And she did not have the words, but I helped her find the words. And through me, we were able to write poetry together. And it was beautiful because I love writing, but for whatever reason, my own personal ego has never really been into it. But through her, we found this mutual art, and I will always really cherish that experience.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sage. Wow. And Margot?
Yeah, I wanted to say you did such a good job of storytelling that that conveyed feelings, I think, for everybody, certainly for me. But just to summarize what I learned, I was thinking of your theme about stretching, and that maybe anytime, for whatever reason, we stretch to give, stretch to help, stretch to care, it's our own heart that gets rewarded.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, thank you, Mario.
Nice. Thank you.
Cool.
Barbara,
So,
Barbara's next.
Oh, Barbara.
Yes, I had a threesome as like Paul with Verona and Louise, and we had a wonderful group. And one of the topics that came up, and yes, thank you, Susan, for telling that beautiful story so well. But one of the things that came up for us, and for me certainly, is sometimes it's so much easier to give and to help. And so you feel so powerful and good about yourself. And I know for myself, it's actually much harder to receive. And I've really worked on being able to receive. And we talked about some of for me, I had, I don't know whether I grew up in a macho household or what it was, a macho society, but to be vulnerable and need help and then be able to receive help is really a challenge and something I work on. And I think that Artie was so brave to be in that position and to show us how beautiful it is to receive and how it empowers other people when you can receive. It's such a gift to other people to receive. And it's just a very beautiful story for exemplifying that helped me see that in myself as well. Thank you, Susan. That was great. Yeah.
Beautiful. Is there someone else waiting?
well, I just want to say one thing, a caveat here. Susan, lest you think I just went off the reservation, I had took Callie Rose out to walk while you were telling your story.
Oh.
So Paul kind of filled me in and then I went on from there, but she was crossing her legs. She had to go out. I apologize.
Oh, no problem.
Sound like a fabulous story.
You can check in and see the actual film.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
So I believe we're certainly at wrap up time here. I thank you all for being here and all of your, and Barbara actually brought up one of the points I was going to make so beautifully about giving and receiving, or giving and taking, and how beautifully Artie was able to receive, but also he was able to ask in his way with such calmness and ability to his beingness. And so for me, this is a true spiritual journey story. And also taking two people from very different life experiences to really, in this short space of time, learn to love each other and care for each other. So I thank you all for being here with me tonight.
Thank you.
Certainly enjoyed being with you. And I will now turn it over to
me.
Paul.
Anna White over here. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I have some announcements, but I have some special thank yous too. But before that, let's thank Susan by showing some claps and hurrahs and everything for joining. I also want to recognize Reverend Verona Garland from Agape Bay Area was here with us tonight, and I want to recognize you. Thank you for joining us, Verona. You're always this is always your home, so you're not very far away. You're just down the street. So anyways, we love you, darling, and we're glad you're here tonight. Again, the name of the movie is Feeling Through. And Sage just put it in the chat with the link. If the link doesn't work, look on YouTube for Feeling Through. So Barbara, Dr. Barbara, if we're ready, we can launch through these millions of announcements, which there's only really 4. This Sunday, May 2nd, Reverend Sally Bartholomew opens the May theme of Holy, Holy, WHOLLY, HOLY. The Holy, Holy Uprising with a talk on the path less traveled. Meditation is at 10 and service starts at 10:30. Next Wednesday, May 5th, making your first appearance on a Wednesday night service is Practitioner Emeritus Dodie Cheney Fernandez, one of our major facilitators at our noontime spiritual journey. I'm so delighted she's coming forward. She'll be speaking on Holy, Holy Uprising meditation at 6:30 and service at 7 next Wednesday night. Please join us for that special event. CALM, the Compassionate Attention to Lost Group Ministry, meets this Sunday at 12:30 right after church. The theme is Good Grief, grieving as an activity of love. The Zoom access is on the events page of the website. As we come into the dry season, the garden needs help to get water on a regular basis. Please contact Zoe DeMuro or Margot Tabbitt, both of which are on our service tonight, and check the Village News for the contact information for both of them. On our next slide, the Board of Trustees is sending out a letter detailing what to expect in the coming months while we're on our path to bringing in a new senior minister. Make sure to check your email. And with that in mind, I'm going to move quickly and remind everybody that oaklandcsl.org is information central for all of our center's digital activities as we shelter in place with grace. So check everything, and don't forget to check the events page, the YouTube channel, and if you want to sign up for the newsletter, it's on the front page in the bottom lower left-hand corner. It's our offering time, so we're going to move right to that right now. I hold up our receptacle tonight. It's a pot with lots of gold in it. I see that overflowing. So with that, I announce our affirmation. This gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. Oh, how wonderful that is. So we're grateful for all of your donations, your time, treasure, and talent. If you wish to donate treasure, do so where else? At the home page of our website, the donate button for credit card texting. It's a cool way to do it. Or you can send us a check, and the address is right there on the home page. We bless our offering. We're grateful for it. We know it gives us the opportunity to give and receive and multiplies and benefits the world. That works for everyone. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over very quickly to Susan Urquhart Brown, our speaker tonight, and ask her to close us out in prayer.
I will be happy to do that, except I need to tell you an important piece I forgot. At the end of the story, as Tariq was walking away, he passed the same homeless man that had asked him at the beginning for money. It was a cup, and he took the $1 out and put it in the man's cup and walked off. And that was the end of the story.
Perfect time to
Yay. Yay. All right. So taking a breath, going into that present, precious moment that is our connection to the oneness, to the divine spirit, to all of the names we give to that which is nameless. That is that which is our connection with the one, our connection with everything on the planet, every person, everywhere. But especially, I am so happy to include our community, our beautiful, thriving OCSL community, as we come together in this special, precious time to call in our new minister, to have everyone step up to what they are called to be and do in our community, as we are doing right in this very moment. How wonderful that is, that we are wrapping our arms around each other, holding each other, and holding our community, our village, so that it remains the wonderful, warm, spiritual community that it already is. And I, for one, I know this is future thinking, would love to walk into that beautiful sanctuary and be together again in person. So I'm grateful for everyone who came tonight and is always giving of their hearts and in love and joy and peace and just being the spot where oneness abides, where kindness and compassion and love abides. So join with me as I end this prayer by saying, and so it is. Thank you, thank
Great.
you, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we did really good, Susan. We fit it all in as far as I'm concerned. Thank
Yay.
you all. If you want to turn on your cameras for a few minutes before Peggy and Constance let us go, and say hello and good night. I see you out there, Robin and
Hey.
Cece, and again, Verona, thank you so
Robin.
much.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Great
Thank you,
to see
everyone.
everyone.
To see
Good to see
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you all. See you next week. See you Sunday, I hope.
Yeah.
See you Sunday.
Okay.
Good
Bye.
night.
All right.
Adieu.
Adieu, adieu.
Hi, Reverend Verona.
Oh,
It's down to 9 of us. Are we counting down yet? Or we
Yeah,
ready?
we're counting down.
Everybody
Thank you,
ready?
Susan. I'll see you soon. I hope you had a good time. Thank you, Christopher,
Yeah.
as always.
Thank
It
you,
was a
everyone.
giggle.
Yeah.
Thank you, wonderful
Thank you,
Zoom
it was
team.
fun. Good night.